you mind talking a little bit about estate planning? And the question is, when should you really be thinking about estate planning? When do I need to get a will? What goes into that? Do I need a trust? You see these words out there, but I think not a lot of folks know what they mean, and they think it sounds like fancy legalese stuff. So, when's an appropriate time to start thinking about building that estate planning base?
Yeah, it's a great question. And, I imagine for most folks, the idea of sitting down with an attorney and going through and making plans for death is probably right up there with a root canal in terms of excitement and priority for everybody. And, obviously, it's not everyone's most enjoyable experience, but it is incredibly important. And so Pat made mention of this document we have called the Financial Well Check, which is really our checklist for making sure the 5 major areas of everyone's planning is done. And I think when people sit down with us, they normally assume we want to talk on investments and building portfolios, and that's important stuff. But we have to have some of the fundamentals in place first. And believe it or not, the very first area of the 5 that we start with is actually estate planning. And so when folks come in and meet with us, we'll ask questions about, have they done any documents such as wills, living wills, powers of attorney, trusts, if that's applicable. And, most often folks probably haven't done that anytime recently. It's not something that has to be updated all the time, but it is really important to get those things put in place. And there can be changes in people's lives, whether that be adding kids to the mix, changes in marital status, moving to a new state. And even those of us who work in this stuff all the time sometimes slip up a little bit, and you kind of forget. If you move to a new state, you probably need to have your stuff looked at just to make sure that documents that were drafted in one state are still applicable in the place you live now. I just recently moved to the state of Kentucky, and I'll just go ahead and confess I haven't quite updated things, but I've been a little busy with unpacking boxes and dealing with a global pandemic. So other than that, I'm going to get right to it. But that's the type of thing that happens. Life gets in the way of doing these things. And so we just encourage clients to really stay on top of that. We will serve as a catalyst for folks to help them get those things done, whether that means connecting them with, if it's a local attorney that's needed, whether that is connecting them with some just online services that allow somebody to get some things taken care of. We just know how vitally important these things are. Most of the time, there's nothing urgent about it until that one time when suddenly there's something very urgent about it. And, in doing what we do, we've unfortunately worked in a lot of client situations where, things got put off and those documents were needed, and it's emergency situations. And so we just really like to stress how important that is. And we feel it's a great foundation to the beginning of a financial plan.